A large boat appeared on the river with coloured lights flashing and music ringing out, and the sounds, getting louder and louder, of people enjoying themselves. Could it be New Year's Eve already? I tried to work it out in my head, but already the days were slipping away from me in a blur of empty hours. How many presents had I already had? 4? And still one to come today? That would mean it was the 29th of December, my 5th full day of captivity. There was still time for me to be rescued and out of here before this year turned into the next. The thought that I might not see the next year flitted briefly across my mind like a sweet wrapper on a breeze. I batted it away. As the boat passed the flat, the sound of a 1980s disco hit wafted inside, accompanied by screeching laughter. Normally, a party boat would be my idea of hell. Stuck in a confined space with crowds of people and thumping music, no way of escape. Once Travis and I went on an overnight ferry from Portsmouth to Santander. The vessel was the size of a small town, yet still I couldn't fight off that fear of being trapped once it pulled away from the harbour, knowing I couldn't get off until we docked again. "You need professional help," Travis had snapped at the end of the journey, fed up with my tight-lipped silence. But now I longed to be on that boat with every fibre of my being. I wondered if any of those party-goers might glance up here to the 6th floor. We'd be tiny figures, Dominic and I. But they might just be able to make out that we were sitting at the vast window of an opulent apartment, me in a pink top. They wouldn't be able to see the champagne, but they might guess at it. They might even envy us in our warehouse conversion splendour. How many assumptions do we make each day based on a total travesty of truth? I wonder. And now it was that time again, the moment that had become the focal point of our day. "Which one is it today? Have a guess." Dominic was standing by the Christmas tree with an impish smile, quite as if he was a normal husband or boyfriend playing a flirtatious little game with his beloved. He was wearing black jeans and a blue long-sleeved t-shirt, the exact colour of his eyes. "That one." I indicated the largest present under the tree. "Greedy, Jessica. Try again." "The one over there, with the sticking-out bit." "Nope. Here it is. This one is today's." He brought the present over, carrying it carefully as if it was made of eggshell. Definitely a book, I thought. Even through the thick wrapping paper I could feel its sharp corners. I was reminded of when my brothers and I would gather around the tree on Christmas morning, before our parents were up, and carefully feel all the presents, my brothers rounding on me if, during my inspection, the paper was pierced by a plastic doll's limb or the edge of a toy cat. When the paper came off, it was revealed to be a hardback of Bleak House. At first I thought the title might be Dominic's idea of a joke. Then I opened it. There was an inscription on the title page. "Congratulations, Dominic Lacey, winner of the English Prize 1988, Silverton Park School." So Dominic was real then. I know it shouldn't have been a surprise, yet somehow it was. All the stuff he'd told me before about his sister and his parents, I'd been able to convince myself it was fiction, a story he was spinning to freak me out. Somehow this book, with its message in blue ink with big, loopy writing, made him real. "I bet you're a model pupil at school, Jessica." His tone was teasing, gentle. The memory of yesterday's stinging slap to my cheek and this morning's smoothie was fading as if it had happened to someone else. I found I wanted to talk. I remembered a documentary I'd once seen where they interviewed a girl who'd been kidnapped and held for a few days in a huge iron pipe. "I kept talking about myself. I knew I had to show him I was human," she said. "Then it would make it harder for him to kill me. I wouldn't say model. I was too odd for that. I never quite got the hang of class participation. I'd be mute when asked a question and then suddenly start spouting when something occurred to me. The teachers didn't like that. They thought I was being rude." Dominic was nodding. Encouraging, desperate to add an anecdote of his own. "My teachers didn't much like me either. Dominic is a bright boy, but perhaps not as bright as he thinks he is. All except Miss Fullerton. She was my English teacher in my last year at primary school. I wrote a story about a boy with magical powers. He could make people disappear just by looking at them. She got me to read it out in assembly and gave me this prize." He held up the book.